And just a friendly reminder, if you guys could mute yourselves while we are going through the presentation. So this webinar will be recorded. It will be on the DOH ESG page. It will be something that we're transitioning to. So just kind of a quick update for ESG, for the regular ESG folks who have existing contracts that started April 1st of this last year. The pay request that is due January 20th will be going through the system. So this most recent pay request that's due October 20th will not be going through the system, but the next pay request that you submit will be going through the system. For those of you who have ESG CV, so the CARES Act funding that's coming to us through ESG, all of your pay requests will go through the system. We're hoping to have those contracts out to you this week. Please give our contracting team a little bit of grace and flexibility. They're trying to get those out as hard as we can. We know you guys are waiting on those, so appreciate your flexibility as well. We are actively in the process of setting up all of your individual cases so that you'll have up-to-date budget and draw requests and reports and all of those things. We will be tagging people in the next week who will have access to your system. So if you are in an agency and you want someone other than the main contacts listed in your application, that's primarily going to be your executive director or CEO. If you want someone other than those individuals to have access to the Neighborly system, please let us know this week. We will tag the folks who we have listed as the primary contacts for these cases within the Neighborly system. But obviously we can go in and update that as time goes along, but please let us know who you're wanting in the system and for what roles. Just a reminder, this is going to be for pay requests as well as the reporting that you all are going to be required to do. Those are my biggest things. Jason, I hope that didn't steal your thunder, or if there's anything else you want me to touch on, please let me know, and I'm here to answer questions as they come up to our ESG specific processes.
Excellent, thank you. So I'm sharing my screen. Can everybody see my screen here?
Yes.
All right. And Krista, I believe you're recording, is that right? The webinar right now?
Yes, it is being recorded.
All right, so let's get started. So good afternoon, everybody. Again, my name is Jason Rusnak. I am the president of Neighborly Software. We're going to walk you through today some of the functionality that you'll be utilizing going forward within the system. We are a company based in Atlanta. We have about 155 clients. All of them are housing, economic, and community development organizations. So very familiar with all the work that you guys do in the field, especially with respect to ESG and the funding associated with that. So we want to thank you guys first for all the work you do. And hopefully what you're going to find today is this is designed to make your life a lot easier. It's designed to eliminate the amount of paper that you have. It's designed to eliminate the emails that you're sending back and forth. It's designed to make your reporting much easier. All of your accomplishment data will be aggregated together. You won't have to complete a quarterly report and then complete an annual report because all that information will be stored for you. And then in the future, you will be able to apply for future ESG funding through the software as well. So again, this will be your one-stop shop for everything that you do with the state and with DOLA in particular. I'm going to start here, but I'm going to caveat this with everything that I'm going to tell you today is going to be sent to you with a user guide. And that user guide will be sent once all of the information has been entered into the system. So as Cassie had mentioned, she and the team are putting together all of your funding, your budgets in the system, all of your prior draw requests that have been approved in the system, also processing your reports in there as well, so that the next time that you log in or the first time you log in, you will see an up-to-date account that will show you how much balance you have left spend and draw down within the contract that you have. And it will also show you all of your accomplishment data that you are required to submit that's already been submitted to the state. So again, the demo environment that I'm going to use is not a real case. It's just a test case in there. Your actual, when you log in, you will see your actual case. And again, do not try to log in until the state has all the information in there. And the way that you'll know that is that they'll send you a sub-recipient guide to get started within the software. Krista, if you can monitor the chat and interrupt me as we're going. If you have questions, just put it in the chat. Krista will interrupt me and we'll address those as we need to. But the first page that you see right now is the login page. So this is the URL address that's going to be in the Getting Started guide. This is where you will come in and you will register your account. So the first step in the process is to register your account. You're going to put in your email address in the system, first and last name, create a password, has a minimum complexity of 8 characters, uppercase, lowercase, number, and special character. It will tell you what you're missing. So don't worry about writing all that down. It'll tell you what you're missing as far as complexity. Once you have all this information entered, you'll hit continue, and the system will automatically send you an email with a link in it. That email and link is to validate that, in fact, you own that email address. Once you click on that link, you will be able then to sign into the system going forward just via the sign in page. So again, the first time that you're logging in, you'll have to register your account, look at your email, check your junk folder just in case it goes there, validate it by clicking on the link, and then going forward, you'll be able to sign in with just your email address and the password that you created. If you have any difficulty registering your account, you will see support@neighborlysoftware.com. This goes directly to our Atlanta support desk, which is available for you anytime between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. East Coast time. So anytime you send us an email, typically we'll get back to you within a half hour, an hour at the latest. So if you have trouble logging in or have any technical issues, you can email us at support@neighborlysoftware.com. You also, at some point, will likely forget your password, and you can reset that yourself just by this link here, forgot your password. Again, it's going to send an email to your account that's registered. You'll be able to then click on that link and reset your password with a new one. Any questions, Krista, from the group so far?
No, nothing for us.
Okay. All right. Well, I am going to sign in. And when I click sign in, it's going to take me to my dashboard. You will likely, the first time you log in, everything goes according to plan, you will see your grant listed right here. Again, this is just a test case that I've attached myself to. But the important part is that you have to give your email address has to be correct in the system with the one that the state is already registering for you. That's how the system knows that when you log in with your email address, what accounts to show you and align you to. Now, if you have 2 grants or 3 grants, you'll see all 3 of them linked right here, and you'll be able to just click into any one of the grants that you've been assigned. I'll show you in a minute. You'll have the ability to also add other users to that grant account, and you can do that yourself as well through this functionality in a minute. At the bottom of the page, there might be some start a new applications. So again, depending upon what applications are available at that time, there might be things like down payment assistance or housing rehab assistance or housing preservation and development programs. Again, you're not going to need to worry about those. Eventually, you will see in the future when your applications become available, you'll start a new cycle, a new application right here by clicking into this link, and that'll take you directly to the application, which you'll be able to walk through. I'm not going to go into any detail on that right now. Just know that, again, in the future, instead of completing a paper copy and sending it or filling out a PDF form and sending it in to the state for review, you guys will be completing your applications for the next cycle in the system as well. For now, though, you're primarily going to be concerned with the existing grants that you have available. And so this is going to be a quick snapshot for you. And then when you click into view, it's going to take you directly to that grant. The first thing that you're going to see on the account page, this is a static page, but it's going to see the budget categories that you have been assigned to. It's also going to see any match that you've been assigned that you need to provide as well. It's going to show you the amount that was originally budgeted, and the amount yet that has been dispersed, and the amount that is remaining. The match funding works a little differently, obviously, than the funding here. So the match funding is something that you guys are matching and drawing down, although you're not actually expected to get compensated for that. These funds that are part of your program are the ones that you're doing your drawdown as part of the request that we'll talk about in a minute. But again, this is just going to show you that you have right now, in this example, we budgeted $30 for rapid rehousing program, $20 for admin, and then you're going to provide a $10 match based on the funding. Here you can see that I already submitted a prior draw for both of these, and I asked for $13 in that draw request, and I identified and uploaded a $2 match based on my volunteer hours or my state or local funds that I matched to the program. This last column shows you the amount that you have remaining. So you have $25 to draw down in rapid rehousing, $12 to draw down for administration, and you still have to provide an $8 match, proof and evidence of an $8 match for the program. This again is a static screen. This will be updated real time as they're processing draws in the system, and as they're marked dispersed, it will show you exactly all of that remaining balance. To process a draw, you will see right here, draw requests. I'm going to go out of order, but I'm going to come back to reports and accomplishments in a minute. But I'm going to first go into draw requests. So here in the draw request window, you will see that I have one draw that has already been dispersed. It is a fake draw. And again, this is the $15 that I requested. If I click into it, I can see the summary of the draw. I can upload all the files I need to support that draw. Here is the volunteer match form that you're able to click on. And when you click on it, it'll actually download for you the volunteer match form that you'll be able to complete and then upload into the actual draw itself. So this document is right here for you. All of the explanations and information you need right there for you to complete and then upload back into the system by clicking the upload file button. Again, this is a draw that I already processed. You can see the amount that was requested and the amount was approved. The other thing that you can see as part of a draw is the workflow for the approval. So once you submit a draw, you will see that it's going to go through 3 steps before it's actually dispersed to you. The first step is the contract manager is going to approve it, review and approve it. There is an ITIS core entries by the budget team that's going to review it and approve it. And then finally a budget approval when they're writing a check for you and dispersing it, they will have it on here. So you will be able to follow along after you submit a draw. You'll be able to see real time where it is in the approval process, who's completed it, when they completed it as part of the review and approval. So hopefully you won't have to call anybody or email anybody and say, did you get my draw request A? Or B, where is it in the approval process? Because all of that can now be seen within the software itself. On your draw request, I'm going to show you again one quick time here. So when you're ready to do your next draw request, you can actually go into the software here and go to the draw request and just log me out. I have another window open, is why it logged me out there. But if I go into the draw request here, I can add a draw just by clicking this button. So when I click add a draw, it's going to ask for a description. I can say this is my second draw, includes match funds as well as expenses for rapid rehousing. Whatever you want to put in there, a text box here just to describe the draw and the information that should be expected. I can click add. When I do that, you'll see here now, again, I'm back to this screen, but now I have the ability to put the amount that I'm requesting. And I can see my available balances. So I have up to $25 here that I can put for rapid rehousing. If this draw I wanted to do $10, let's say, I wanted to do $5 for administration, and then I have a $3 match associated with it that I'm including. So this is basically a $15 draw that I'm asking for, and I'm showing support for a $3 match as well. Here I can upload all of my different documents, whether it's an invoice, checks paid, etc., everything that you need to submit as part of your draw process. And again, if you have any volunteer match form or information you need to submit as part of your volunteer match, you can do that here as well and upload it. You can upload as many files as you need into the system, and it'll just create a new spot for another file to be uploaded.
Jason, we have a question.
Okay.
When multiple staff members from one organization have access to Neighborly, will each staff member have access to all information in the Neighborly system for the grantee organization?
They will. So again, everybody would have access to everything in here as far as all the information. And again, it's more of a training issue, so what they should and shouldn't do. But you'll also see at the bottom that whoever makes any updates or any changes to anything, it always is going to timestamp that information here. So you'll know who's done anything in what field or in what page, who the last one was to make any updates to it. When I do click this submit button here, it's going to ask and validate, all right, are you submitting this draw for $18? And I click proceed. Now the draw has been submitted. And you can see here now I can follow along again with the review process and all the different folks that are approving and reviewing it. Now what might happen, and Krista, I don't know at the back end, if you can do this for me really quickly, if you can just reject this draw and send it back to me, It's 31122. But what will likely happen at some point in time is the state will get your draw request, they will review it, and they will find something that is missing. Maybe you didn't upload the right documentation. Maybe you're asking for more money than what is available to you. Maybe your match funds aren't having the documentation required in order to approve those match funds. So what they will be able to do is send a denial of your draw back to you, and it will be listed as a denied draw request, and there will be an explanation in the email that you get as to why that draw was denied and any corrective action that you need to take in order to resubmit that draw to the state. So again, that's going to be very important, is if you do get a draw request sent back to you that is denied, you will be able to go back into the draw request. And Krista, just let me know when you get it. We'll come back to it in a minute. But I'll get an email saying that my draw has been denied, and then I'll be able to go directly back into the draw and make any edits to it and resubmit it. And that includes uploading any documentation, changing the amount that I'm requesting, whatever it might be. The key point for this is that you do not submit a new draw. There is logic in the system that is tracking everything. So when the state denies a draw, there is a record in there for why they denied it and the reason for the denial and an audit trail associated with it. And so you just need to go back into that draw that you submitted, make any edits, and then resubmit that draw back to the state.
Draw has been returned to you.
All right, so when I refresh here, you'll see now that this draw was sent back to me. I also got an email for why it was denied, and it's not submitted in here. And so I can then click right back into that draw request. I can add in additional verbiage I can want. I can upload any additional documents, or maybe, for example, instead of $10, my receipts only support $8. And that was the reason it was denied. So I can come in here and say, changed request to $8 and resubmit by clicking the submit button. And now again, this draw request is going through the process. And again, you can follow it along here through the workflow.
We have another question. So it sounds like the system will give email updates, or do staff need to log back into the system to check on all status updates?
Yep, the system's going to send a couple updates automatically. So it's going to send an update when your draw request is rejected to you and you have action that's required. You will automatically get an email notifying you of that. That email, as I said earlier, will also have the reason for why that draw request was rejected and any actions you need to take to resubmit that draw. You will also get an automated email when your accomplishment reports are available for you to start working on them. So every quarter, the day that the reports open, you'll get an email reminding you that those reports are now available for you to submit your accomplishment data to the state. You will also potentially get tasks assigned to you as subrecipients, and that will come in the form of an email as well. And you'll have a task bar up here at the top. And so Krista, can you just send me a task in that training case as well? Just so I can show everybody what that looks like.
Yep, and there was another question. Who gets the emails? All the users from the organization?
That's a great, I believe every user does get every participant does get an email notifying them. All right, so while Krista's getting me a task to work on, I'm going to leave the account page, leave the draw request page. Again, you're going to see in the draw request, all of your draw requests here will be listed. So you'll have a running total of every draw request. Here's the one that's been dispersed. Here's the one I just submitted. So this will be a real-time view of every draw that you've submitted. It'll show you how much is dispersed, how much is pending in this new draw that I submitted. And so again, you'll be able to track real-time your budgets and your available balance. With respect to reports, so as I mentioned earlier, the state is now setting up your reports for you. It's going to show the due dates, your quarterly reports, when they're due. And again, you'll get a reminder when the reports are available for you to take action. So these are quarterly, and you'll see this is just an example, but the date range for this one is October 1st to December 31st. The report is going to be due 15 days after the reporting period. So it's going to be due January 15th. And it's going to be available the last day of the reporting period, so 12/31/2020. You will get an email allowing you to go into the system and start your report on the day that the report becomes available. I'm going to click into this report. You can see that we set this up so that one is due on the 15th. So I have one right now in progress. When I click into it, you will see that you might have goals in here. More than likely right now you will not. We're not using goals yet, but in the future you might, where there'll be individual goals for your team to report upon. You will definitely see accomplishments. So these are numerical, and these will be done every quarter and will aggregate together for you as you complete them. Again, these are just examples of accomplishments that you'll be reporting, but you can see here the type of household, the gender of the adults, the children, any special populations that you served. We just picked a few of these. Again, these will be customized to you and your organization based on the program that you're administering. This is just an example. So again, you will not see this verbatim. You will see the customized accomplishment data that you and your team, if you have any sub-grantees, need to report upon. Section C in this example is the narrative performance report. So here you can type in a narrative into the system for these particular questions that they're asking relevant to your project. Section D, at the bottom you will see complete and continue. So this is important. When you mark it complete and continue, you'll see a check mark next to each one of these sections. In order to be able to submit your report, you need to have check marks next to every single one of these particular steps. So again, without check marks, you're not going to be able to submit your report in the system. So as you go through it, you can save your data. So for example, if you start here and you never complete it, let's just say I know the special populations that I served and I need to save it right now. I can click save and I'll be able to come back to that section at a later period and be able to make any updates before I mark it complete and continue. Likewise, when I get into section D, again, if it's not applicable to you, if you're not using bonus funds and don't have to do a narrative report for that, you can easily come in here and just mark it complete and continue. You'll also see some of these sections require documentation for you to upload as part of that particular section. So again, it's a simple process of just going in here, clicking the upload file button. It'll take you to your computer and you'll just upload anything that is associated with that file that you need to as part of it. Again, when you're done, you mark it complete and continue. E, supporting documents. Again, here's another one with just the HMIS comparable database report that you're able to upload that particular information into the system here as well as part of your report. And then finally, there will be a submit step. And again, you can see here that you have to complete all prior steps before this can be submitted. This is going to be electronic signature. So when this is the last step you'll complete, you'll just type your name in, the date, and then you'll be able to click submit at that point in time when you're ready to submit this, when all prior steps have check boxes next to them. Any questions, Krista, on quarterly reports?
No, we don't have anything.
Okay.
This is Cassie. Could I just jump in really quickly, Jason, to just clarify one point on the quarterly report?
Sure.
So for folks who are using HMIS and our comparable database through CAFE, just wanted to point out that most of the demographics about the folks you're serving, the number of folks you're serving, those sorts of things will actually be pulled through your CAPER and added as a component to your quarterly report. So we're going to be having those CAPER reporting systems be required quarterly for the CV funding at least. So just want to make sure that folks who are definitely thinking about that double duplication, data entry, those sorts of things. So we're really hoping to leverage the Neighborly system for the pay requests and the narrative components of the quarterly reporting. And then your HMIS or comparable database system will provide some of those more demographic pieces so you guys won't have to manually enter that. So per Jason, what Jason said earlier, we're going in and associating you all with the quarterly reporting pieces that you'll have to have. So your individual systems, when they're updated, will have all of that information included and you'll see exactly what you need to report on, but just wanted to throw that out there.
All right. So any accomplishment data that you do report on, just be aware that it will aggregate together for you. So again, depending upon what is reported through your HMIS as an upload versus anything that you actually need to report on in the system, this will automatically aggregate over every quarter. And so you'll have a total at the end of the year as well. So again, it'll be a running total where every accomplishment report, and again, this is a view only screen here, but anytime you submit a report, that data will be aggregated You'll have another column for the next quarter, and the data you put in there, it'll be aggregated for a total as well. Anytime you see an Excel button here, that means the data can be exported to Excel for further manipulation as well. So all of these fields here will be exported to Excel, and you can manipulate as you need to as well. All right, so we went through the account section, again, a read-only screen. We talked about your reports. At some point in time, you will also see that you have other reports in here that need to be completed. And the state will tell you when you need to do a self-certification report. But to do that, you'll just come into the report window, click on Start a New Report, and you will see that the self-certification report is built into the software as well, where you're able to do that in the system, as well as your sub-grantee report. You'll be able to start a new report by clicking on the Start a New Report button, and then that will be found and available for you to complete. So again, all of your reporting will be available in the system as you go forward. Other thing that I did not mention, your case ID. So this is unique to each subrecipient and their case. So if you have a question for our technical support staff, or if you need to communicate with the state and you want to reference your case ID, this is what allows them to go into the system, retrieve the case ID very easily, and pull up your account within their admin section. This case ID will never be duplicated, so it's always an individual case ID for the grant program and your subrecipient as an individual as well. You will not need to use or see the application. This again, in the future, when you complete an application, this will be all of your application information. But since you did not complete the application this cycle in our software, all of this will mostly be blank. The state will probably put in section A, so basic application information. But again, in the future, as you apply within the software, this kind of gives you a sneak peek of the questions that will be asked, things that you'll need to complete. But again, we are past that stage here. So we are now into the actual grant stage here. So you can't change anything in the application. And again, because you didn't do it in the software the first time, it will mostly be blank except for what the team at DOLA puts into the software just as a basic placeholder for your case.
Couple of questions, Jason. When will the Neighborly database be open for us to register?
That is a Cassie question.
Yes, this is Cassie. We are hoping that by the end of this week, we will have everything up and running. Please take that with a large grain of salt. We have a lot of that we're juggling right now, to be very honest. But like I said, for the folks who have the regular ESG grants, we are not asking that you submit your pay request through the system for the one that's due on October 20th. You won't have to submit that until January 20th, that next pay request that's due through the system. For our ESG CV1 grantees, we are hoping that this system, you will have access to it within the same time frame as the execution of your contract. So in about the next week or so is when we're hoping that that will happen.
Was there a second question, Krista?
There was, how do you search by case ID?
So you're not going to have to search by case ID. So when you log into the system, it's automatically going to be associated with your case in here. Every case that you have been assigned or created will show up in here. Administrators through the administrator portal will be able to search by case ID.
And then one more, will reports still be due on the 20th of every quarter?
Yep, that's a Cassie question as well.
Sorry, I was toggling off of mute. Yes, right now it's set up on the 15th, but we're going to go in and tweak that so that you guys don't have to submit them till the 20th because we know that's what your contract says. So yes, that's correct.
The other thing that I failed to mention earlier on, you'll see the users tab right here. So this is how you can add additional users to your account. So again, it's as simple as just typing in their email address and clicking add. They will get an email letting them know that they've been added to the case. It will give them instructions to click back into the portal and register their account. Just as you are registering your account, once you've registered the account, you'll now have your users in here. And you'll be able to then at that point, everybody will be able to see all the information, do their draw requests, do their reporting within the system. So again, the users are added to a case. So again, if you have more than one case, so for example, if you have 2 or 3 cases listed here, you are assigning users to each one of the grants themselves. It's not an overarching view, it's to each grant. So if somebody should see one grant but not another, then you're just assigning them to that one case and not all three. Krista just showed you up here, so my active tasks. So the state has the ability to assign tasks to all the subrecipients as well. You'll get an email, as I mentioned earlier, notifying you that you have a task in the system. You'll see that there's a due date in here. You'll get a reminder email the day the task is due. So again, this will show up here not only when you get the task, but the day that it's actually due. And if I click into that task, it's going to have a description here of what needs to happen. You can be able to go in there and save it here. You'll see here that you have the ability to upload files. So if they're asking for a particular file, maybe your insurance, maybe other documentation that you might need, you'll have the ability to upload that here as well. But again, this makes it very easy. Once you've completed your task, you'll mark it complete, and then you'll save it. And that will be the way that the state will be notified that a task is complete. And it will also be the way that you stop seeing an active task within your screen when you log into the system. So again, you will see my tasks at the top up here. If you have any active tasks, again, once you mark them complete, they're all going to show up here as complete. But again, the first thing that you're going to see when you log in is every grant that's associated with you. And you'll be able to click into those grants. You'll be able to add users. You'll be able to do your draw requests in the system. You'll be able to do your reporting within the system as well. Any other questions?
I have one question. This is Laura with Posada in Pueblo. I heard that the regular ESG grants draw requests are extended to January. Is that because they're not going to be ready to submit the draws in the system? And the second question, if so, what if I wanted to submit it now in October for the last quarter, the same way I have submitted my requests in the past?
So Posada is in a unique position. So because it's coming through the County of Pueblo, you all are going to continue to pull that money from the County of Pueblo in the same way that you always have. It's actually the Pueblo County folks who are going to be using this system because they're our direct recipient. And Tammy and I have been talking about that privately in the chat. So reach out to Tammy and we will help you guys work through that. But most likely, unless you're a direct recipient of our ESG CD1 funds, you actually won't be using this system, at least for the time being. But as you guys are getting the CD1 contracts, that's when you'll be using that system. Does that help?
Yes, thank you so much.
Of course.
All right, so I just showed you everything from the part of registering in the system, logging in, creating your account, seeing your grants in the system, being able to, once you see your grants, see the account balances that you have. You'll see all the reports that are due when they become available. Again, you'll see some of these other reports as they're available as well. You'll see accomplishment data that'll aggregate together for you across the period of time as you submit your grant reports. You'll be able to do all your draw requests in the system. One more reminder on this one, very important. If a draw is denied, please go back into that draw and don't start a new draw. Just go back into that draw, make any corrections or edits that are necessary and resubmit it. And again, that's for audit purposes. You don't have to worry about the application section that has not been completed this time around. And the document section, again, you won't have to worry about this. There's no documents that have been uploaded yet as part of your application or file itself. If you want to add users, this is the screen you add users, and it's per case. It is, so if you have 3 cases and you only add users to one case, they're not going to see the other 2 cases in the system. Last comment here, you'll notice 3112, every case has its own unique ID. If you have questions and need support from our team at support@neighborlysoftware.com, just reference the case ID. Likewise, if you have questions for the state and they need to pull up your case really quickly, it's very easy for them if you just give them the case ID as well, and that way they can pull up the case on the administrator portal. And that will be your unique case that will never be repeated, that case ID. Any questions, comments, thoughts? Hopefully everybody sees how this can make your life a lot easier as you move forward. And especially once you get an application cycle in, then you'll get to experience the entire system from applying for a grant to doing all of your reports, doing all your draw requests and closeouts of the grants all in one system, all with one login. Cassie, anything I missed? Any questions from anybody else? Otherwise, I can give you 20 minutes back in your day.
This is Cassie. Nothing from my perspective. I'm just responding to a couple of questions that are coming privately to me, but folks do remember that we are going to be posting this recording. Kelly and Chelsea, who are our new ESG team members, are also really great at the system and will be available for troubleshooting. And like I said, be looking for your access to the system in about the next week or so. And then, you know, the only other thing I would add, of course, is as you are engaging with the system and dealing with it, if you have thoughts, concerns, criticisms, please let us know what those are. It's a very flexible system and we have the ability to tweak and change things. And so if there are things that are confusing, if there are things that don't make sense, please let us know and we're happy to update and tweak as we can or help provide that technical assistance that might be helpful for your teams to get onboarded.
Yeah, and one last reminder from us. So you will be getting, Cassie and her team will be sending you guys when everything's ready, a getting started guide that will walk you through step by step how to register in the system, the URL address for it, how to actually do your draws and do your reporting in the software. So everything that we've covered today will be available via video, but also via a 10-page subrecipient guide. And that will be your cue. Once you receive that guide, that will be your indication that your account is now ready. And you can go in there and register and start to do your work as appropriate.
And this is Cassie again, just wanted to answer Stephanie's question out loud. So Stephanie, no, the ESG renewal and ESG CV2 grant applications are not uploaded into the system. Those are still emailed directly to us. But again, the future pay requests for those grant awards will be done through the system. And there's a potential that our second ESG CV2 application will happen in the system. We're not 100% sure what that looks like just yet. And then I'm not sure about the browser, the web browser, which we should use to log in. I will let the Neighborly team answer that one.
Yep, so we support all modern browsers. Google Chrome is always the best, but we do support Safari and Microsoft Edge. Be aware that Internet Explorer is not supported going forward. So Microsoft does not even support Internet Explorer starting in November. So we don't test with Internet Explorer anymore. But again, Google Chrome, Safari, or Microsoft Edge all are supported in the software. All right, well, unless there's any other questions, thanks everybody. And again, we'll be getting you that subrecipient guide shortly to get started, hopefully within the next week or so. And if you have questions going forward, you can email us at support@neighborlysoftware.com. Thanks everybody.